16. Plants you should never grow in your garden. Protect your home and family. Hello, fellow plant lovers, and welcome back to Earthly Delights, the place where soil meets soul and where every leaf, root, and bloom has a story to tell. If you're here, I know a few things about you already. You love the feeling of stepping into your garden or living room and being surrounded by greenery that makes your space feel alive. You're curious, maybe even a little adventurous, when it comes to trying new plants. And most of all, you want your garden or your indoor jungle to be both beautiful and safe for your family, your pets, and the environment. But here's the thing, not every plant that looks appealing at the nursery or in your neighbor's yard is a good idea to bring home. Some are silent invaders that will ruin your soil, crack your foundation, or creep into places you never imagined. Others hide toxins that could harm curious children or pets. And still others fool even experienced gardeners with their charm before revealing their destructive side. In today's video, I'll share with you 16 plants you should never grow in your garden. By the end, you'll not only know which ones to avoid, but you'll also understand the why, so you can make smarter, safer choices for your green spaces. And trust me, this knowledge could save you years of frustration, heartache, and money. Before we dive in, if you want more down-to-earth gardening wisdom that blends beauty with practicality, don't forget to subscribe to Earthly Delights and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Part 1: Invasive Monsters, the Silent Garden Destroyers. Every gardener dreams of plants that grow quickly, fill empty spaces, and create lush beauty. But sometimes that speed comes with a hidden cost. These invasive monsters may look charming at first, yet once they take root, they spread relentlessly, choking out other plants, damaging property, and leaving you with regrets instead of joy. 1. Running bamboo, the green bulldozer. At first glance, running bamboo feels like the dream solution, tall, elegant, and perfect for creating that private, zen-like retreat many of us long for in our gardens. Garden centers often market it as a natural fence, and if you're someone who values quick results, it's tempting. But here's the hidden truth every experienced gardener learns too late. Running bamboo doesn't respect boundaries. Its underground rhizomes can travel up to 20 feet in just one season, breaking through concrete, lifting patios, and even invading your neighbor's yard. Once it's in, removal isn't a weekend project. It often requires professional help, heavy machinery, and thousands of dollars. And even then, a small leftover fragment is enough to start the invasion again. Many insurance companies won't even cover the damage because it's considered preventable. If you've ever wanted privacy in your garden, trust me, there are safer, more manageable alternatives than this unstoppable green bulldozer. 2. Japanese knotweed, the property value killer. On the surface, Japanese knotweed doesn't look threatening at all. Its tall, bamboo-like stems and pretty heart-shaped leaves can trick even experienced gardeners into thinking it's harmless. Some people even cook the young shoots, claiming they taste like rhubarb. But beneath the soil lies the real danger, an underground root system that's as destructive as it is persistent. These rhizomes can grow 20 feet across and 10 feet deep, cracking through concrete, tearing apart foundations, and even pushing up through floorboards inside homes. In places like the UK, the presence of knotweed can actually prevent homeowners from getting a mortgage. It's that serious. Removal isn't just difficult, it can take years, requiring specialized contractors and costing tens of thousands. And the scariest part? A single piece of root the size of a fingernail can regenerate into a full plant colony. This isn't just a garden nuisance. It's a nightmare that can ruin property values and leave you fighting a battle that feels endless. Kudzu, the vine that ate the South. If you've ever driven through parts of the southern United States, you've likely seen entire landscapes swallowed by a single plant, kudzu. At first, it was welcomed as a helpful solution for erosion control and even admired for its fragrant purple flowers that smell like grape soda. But this vine quickly revealed its darker side. Kudzu can grow up to a foot per day in ideal conditions, smothering trees, shrubs, and even buildings under thick green blankets. Its weight can topple mature trees, and its endless spreading creates dangerous fire hazards with layers of draped by tangled vines. Once it takes hold, entire ecosystems disappear beneath its grip, leaving behind what looks like a lush green paradise, but is actually a biological desert. Controlling kudzu isn't just hard, it often takes years of persistent herbicide treatment, and even then, it can bounce back with alarming speed. What began as a friendly guest plant has turned into one of the most notorious invaders in gardening history. 4. English ivy, the charming destroyer. Few plants carry such old-world elegance as English ivy. With its glossy green leaves trailing across brick walls or blanketing shady corners, it feels timeless, almost like a living piece of history. Many gardeners, especially those who love low-maintenance solutions, see it as the perfect cover for bare soil or unsightly fences. But here's the truth English ivy doesn't tell you. Once it takes hold, it doesn't stop. On the ground, and it smothers everything in its path, robbing native plants of light and nutrients. On trees, it climbs higher and higher, adding weight that weakens branches until they snap. And when it scales your home, those little rootlets act like crowbars, prying apart brick and mortar, creating cracks where water seeps in, damage that can cost tens of thousands to repair. Worse, ivy provides cozy hiding spots for rodents, snakes, and insects right up against your walls. Removing it is a long battle of persistence, and even professionals often scar the surfaces it clings to. What begins as a romantic touch can quickly turn into a costly and exhausting fight. Part 2. Toxic beauties, pretty but potentially deadly. Now let's step into a more dangerous territory. Plants that lure us with their stunning flowers and elegant foliage but hide a poisonous secret. These are the plants that tempt gardeners with color and charm, yet pose real risks to children, pets, and even unsuspecting adults. Beauty here can come at a terrifying price. 5. Oleander pear, the deadly beauty. Oleander is one of those plants that can steal your heart at first sight. With its clusters of pink, white, or red flowers blooming for months, it brings a tropical elegance to any garden. It's drought-tolerant, resists deer, and seems like the perfect low-maintenance shrub. No wonder landscapers love planting it along highways and in commercial spaces. But behind the beauty lies a deadly truth. Every single part of oleander is toxic. A single leaf can kill a large animal, and even brushing against the plant and touching your eyes or mouth can cause painful irritation. Burn its trimmings and the smoke becomes poisonous, sending people to the hospital. Even honey made from its flowers can be toxic. For children drawn to its bright flowers or pets that chew leaves, the danger is severe. Symptoms of poisoning range from nausea and dizziness to seizures, coma, and even death. There's no antidote, and treatment is complex. Growing oleander may feel glamorous, but it's like inviting danger into your yard, something no safe, family-friendly garden should risk. 6. Foxglove, the poison in the cottage garden. Foxgloves are the picture of romance in a garden. Their tall, bell-shaped flowers in shades of purple, pink, and white sway gently in the breeze, making them a centerpiece in classic English cottage designs. Many gardeners can't resist their charm, and you might even find them recommended for pollinator gardens. But behind that elegance hides a chilling reality. Foxgloves contain digitalis, the same compound used in heart medication. The line between a therapeutic dose and a lethal one is frighteningly thin. For children, pets, or even adults unfamiliar with the plant, the risk is real. Mistaking its leaves for an herb or touching the plant and forgetting to wash your hands could lead to severe poisoning. Symptoms include irregular heartbeat, nausea, dizziness, and in extreme cases, death. What makes it worse is that foxgloves self-seed easily, popping up in unexpected corners where curious hands might find them. While they add undeniable beauty, the liability of growing foxglove near your home, especially with kids or animals around, is a risk most gardeners regret once they learn the truth. 7. Castor bean plant, the exotic killer. At first glance, the castor bean plant is striking. With its huge palm-like leaves and dramatic seed pods, it creates a bold, tropical look that makes any garden stand out. Many gardeners are drawn to its rapid growth and ornamental appeal, especially when they want to add an exotic flair. But here's the terrifying part. Its seeds contain ricin, one of the most powerful natural toxins known. Just 1 or 2 seeds can kill an adult, and there's no antidote. Even handling the seeds without gloves is dangerous if you accidentally touch your mouth or eyes afterward. Because of this, the castor bean plant is not just risky, it's monitored by government agencies worldwide, as ricin has been used in biological attacks. Growing it near schools, playgrounds, or any place where curious children might encounter it is unthinkable. Pets are at equal risk, and even livestock can die if they chew on the leaves. While its beauty may tempt plant lovers, the hidden danger makes castor bean a plant that should never find a home in your garden. 8. Giant hogweed, the blinding giant. Imagine a plant so tall and dramatic it looks like something out of a fairy tale, towering up to 14 feet with huge white flower clusters. Many people mistake giant hogweed for an ornamental showpiece, not realizing they're standing next to a serious health hazard. The danger lies in its clear sap, which contains phototoxic compounds. When the sap touches your skin and is then exposed to sunlight, it causes severe chemical burns so bad they can leave permanent scars. If the sap splashes into your eyes, it can even cause blindness. And this isn't a rare accident. Gardeners, hikers, and children are hospitalized every year after brushing against it. Even handling the plant with bare arms or legs can lead to painful blisters that last weeks. To make matters worse, hogweed spreads aggressively along waterways, roadsides, and open spaces, quickly dominating landscapes. Many regions have made it illegal to plant or transport, and local authorities often have dedicated removal teams. This isn't just a dangerous weed, it's a public safety threat disguised as a garden giant. Part 3. Friendly plants with hidden dangers. Not every threat in the garden looks dramatic or deadly at first glance. Some of the most troublesome plants are the ones we welcome in with open arms. Herbs for cooking, flowers for pollinators, or shrubs once recommended by experts. But beneath their friendly image, these plants can quietly create chaos, leaving gardeners shocked at how quickly things spiral out of control. 9. Mint, the herb that refuses to stay put. Mint is often one of the first herbs new gardeners plant. After all, who doesn't love the idea of plucking fresh leaves for tea, cocktails, or a summer salad? Its fragrance is irresistible, and it attracts helpful pollinators too. But here's the catch. Once planted directly in the ground, mint shows its true colors. This little herb spreads through underground runners called stolons, and they move fast, weaving through soil and popping up in places you never intended. In just one season, mint can escape its bed, invade vegetable patches, overrun flower borders, and even sneak into your lawn. Try pulling it out, and you'll discover that even a tiny root fragment left behind is enough to regrow a whole new plant. Many frustrated gardeners have found themselves digging up entire beds or moving gardens altogether because mint refused to stay in its place. The solution? Always grow mint in containers where it can thrive without turning into a garden tyrant. Trust me, your mojitos will taste just as good, and your sanity will remain intact. 10. Butterfly bush, the pollinator's false promise. At first glance, butterfly bush feels like the perfect gift to nature. Its long, fragrant flower spikes attract swarms of butterflies, bees, and hummingbirds, filling a garden with life and movement. Many gardeners plant it thinking they're creating a pollinator paradise. But here's the truth that often gets overlooked. While adult butterflies do sip nectar from its flowers, the bush provides no food for their caterpillars. That means butterflies visit, but they can't stay, and populations decline over time. To make matters worse, non-native varieties of butterfly bush spread aggressively, self-seeding into nearby fields, riverbanks, and forests. Once there, they push out native plants that caterpillars and other wildlife depend on. In some states, it's even classified as invasive and banned for sale. For gardeners who truly want to help pollinators, butterfly bush can feel like offering candy without a meal. Sweet, but empty. The better choice? Plant native wildflowers and shrubs that nourish every stage of the butterfly's life cycle, from caterpillar to winged beauty. That's how we create real sanctuaries. 11. Autumn olive, from helpful to harmful. There was a time when autumn olive was praised as a hero plant. Government agencies even promoted it in the 1960s for erosion control and wildlife habitat, promising gardeners and farmers a hardy shrub With fragrant flowers and bright red berries birds would love. And at first it seemed like a win. The plant grows in poor soil, fixes nitrogen, and spreads quickly, filling barren spaces. But that's exactly where the trouble begins. Those berries that birds adore, they spread seeds far and wide, allowing autumn olive to escape into forests, meadows, and prairies. Once established, it forms dense thickets that block sunlight and smother native plants, robbing wildlife of the diversity they need to thrive. It leaves out earlier than many native species, giving it an unfair head start each spring. And with a lifespan of 80 years or more, a single shrub can dominate landscapes for generations. Today, the very agencies that once recommended it now spend millions battling it. For gardeners, what looks like a useful shrub is really an ecological invader wearing a friendly disguise. 12. Norway maple, the shade that silences. At first, Norway maple seems like the perfect urban tree. It grows quickly, offers dense shade on hot days, and turns brilliant shades of yellow in autumn. Cities planted it along streets for decades because it tolerated pollution and poor soil better than many natives. But with time, its hidden flaws became undeniable. The very density of its shade, while appealing to homeowners, creates a dead zone beneath its canopy. Grass, flowers, and even many shrubs simply can't survive without light. Worse, Norway maple seedlings sprout everywhere, slipping into forests and natural areas where they crowd out native trees like sugar maple and oak. Over time, they transform diverse ecosystems into monocultures with little room for wildlife. For gardeners, the problems hit closer to home. Roots of mature Norway maples rise to the surface, cracking sidewalks, lifting patios, and stealing water from nearby beds. While their grandeur is undeniable, these trees bring long-term headaches that far outweigh their beauty. Many cities have banned new plantings, urging gardeners to choose native maples instead. Trees that give shade without silencing everything beneath them. Part 4. Trees and shrubs that deceive. Some plants don't just misbehave, they actively trick us. They grow tall and fast, offering shade, beauty, or romantic charm, only to reveal their destructive side years later. These are the trees and shrubs that homeowners often welcome with pride, not realizing they're planting long-term problems that can damage property and ecosystems alike. Tinhin, Tree of Heaven, the imposter giant. With a name like Tree of Heaven, you'd expect something divine. And at first glance, it delivers, growing rapidly, reaching impressive heights, and thriving even in poor soil where other trees struggle. For city gardeners, it can feel like a miracle tree, offering quick shade and a tropical look. But the reality is far less heavenly. This tree releases chemicals into the soil that poison its surroundings, preventing other plants from growing nearby. Its roots are notoriously destructive, cracking sidewalks, damaging sewer lines, and even threatening building foundations. Cut it down, and instead of dying, it often responds by sending up dozens of new shoots, growing back with even more determination. To make matters worse, it produces hundreds of thousands of seeds each year, spreading invasively across landscapes. And if that weren't enough, it serves as the primary host plant for the spotted lanternfly, an invasive insect wreaking havoc on crops and forests. What seems like a gift from above is really an ecological nightmare, one that gardeners quickly regret planting once its true nature is revealed. 14. Purple loosestrife, the wetland imposter. Few plants catch the eye like purple loosestrife. With its tall spikes of magenta flowers, it looks like a dream in any garden, especially near ponds or marshy areas. Gardeners often imagine it as the perfect solution for wet, soggy soil that few plants can tolerate. But beneath the beauty lies an ecological disaster. A single purple loosestrife plant can produce over 2 million seeds in one season, and those seeds spread easily through water, wind, and even on the soles of shoes. Once established, it doesn't share space. It takes over, forming dense stands that crowd out native wetland plants vital for birds, fish, and insects. Entire marshes can be transformed into lifeless, purple fields where biodiversity collapses. The problem has become so severe that many states have banned the sale or transport of purple loosestrife, and millions of dollars are spent each year trying to contain it. For gardeners, what starts as a splash of color by the water can quickly turn into a guilty realization. This beauty doesn't just brighten a garden, it devastates whole ecosystems. 15. Chinese and Japanese wisteria, the romantic wrecking ball. Wisteria is the kind of plant that feels like pure magic. Its cascading clusters of purple or white flowers drape from pergolas and fences, filling the air with fragrance and transforming gardens into scenes from storybooks. For anyone dreaming of a romantic outdoor retreat, wisteria seems irresistible. But beneath that dreamy curtain of blossoms lies a destructive truth. The vines of Chinese and Japanese wisteria grow with relentless strength, thickening into woody ropes capable of strangling mature trees. They twist around trunks and branches until they collapse under the weight. On houses and fences, the vines can tear down gutters, pull apart structures, and cause thousands in damage. Even worse, these aggressive species spread underground, sending up shoots many feet away from the original plant, making control a nightmare. Professional removal often requires tree services, heavy equipment, and repeated treatments. While Native American wisteria offers a safer alternative, too many gardeners discover too late that the imported versions turn charm into chaos. What begins as romance in bloom can end as heartbreak for both garden and wallet. 16. Poison hemlock, the deadly look-alike. At first glance, poison hemlock looks harmless, even delicate. With its feathery leaves and clusters of tiny white flowers, many people mistake it for wild parsley or Queen Anne's lace. But this plant has a notorious history. It's the very poison that ended the life of the philosopher Socrates. Every single part of poison hemlock is toxic, from its roots to its seeds, and even small amounts can be fatal to humans and animals. The danger is made worse because it often grows along roadsides, ditches, and in neglected corners of yards, blending in with common wildflowers until it's too late. Gardeners who unknowingly pull it without gloves risk absorbing toxins through their skin or inhaling particles while cutting. Symptoms of poisoning include trembling, respiratory failure, and death if not treated immediately. Unlike some plants on this list, there's no ornamental value that makes the risk worth it. Poison hemlock offers nothing but danger. For gardeners who value safety for their families and pets, recognizing and removing this imposter is a non-negotiable responsibility. Choosing beauty without regret. So there you have it, 16 plants that may look gorgeous, practical, or even harmless, but carry hidden dangers that can turn your garden into a costly or even deadly mistake. Some of these invaders creep beneath the soil, breaking foundations and stealing space from everything else you've planted. Others tempt us with stunning flowers while holding toxins strong enough to harm pets, children, or unsuspecting gardeners. And a few disguise themselves as helpful only to overtake entire landscapes, leaving behind nothing but regret. But here's the good news. You have the power to choose differently. By learning to recognize these problem plants, you can protect your home, your loved ones, and your ecosystem. Swap them out for safe, native alternatives that bring just as much beauty without the chaos. Imagine a garden where every plant supports pollinators, every flower is safe for children to touch, and every root stays where it belongs. That's the kind of space that gives you peace, not problems. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever dealt with one of these plants in your own yard? Did you win the battle, or are you still fighting it? Share your story in the comments below. Your experience could help another gardener avoid the same mistake. And if this video opened your eyes, hit that like button, subscribe to Earthly Delights, and ring the notification bell. Together, we'll keep building gardens that inspire, nurture, and truly delight.